Hello and welcome to a new edition of Market Masters. The UBS India 3-day conference is underway. First up on the show today, my colleague Nimesh had the opportunity to speak with a very rare voice, UBS country head Mickey Doshi. Nimesh quizzed him on a whole host of issues: India's recent underperformance, the potential of a fair trade deal between India and the United States, and the exponential growth in India's primary market space. Take a listen.
This is a big event for us at UBS. This is our second year of the conference after we integrated with Credit Suisse. The turnout's been superb. Like you rightly said, the FI turnout and even domestics have been around. I think the mood is clearly one of wanting to see the opportunity and see what the investment outlook looks going forward. Yes, you're right. It has been a rank underperformer. China and Korea, as you know, have been clearly beneficiaries of less flows into India or outflows out of India into those markets. Multiple reasons. I think some of the flows have gone into the IPOs. We've had a robust IPO calendar this year, continue to have one next year. So that's part of the reason why. Secondly, I think Liberation Day obviously wasn't very favorable for us, which I think, again, we're hoping that that changes going into 2026 and is positive for us. So yeah, the mood is upbeat. We actually had the ex-deputy governor of the RBI yesterday. Again, very supportive. He thinks RBI is going to be out there and supporting the growth in this country. So I think, yeah.
Sure. I'll ask you about banking and RBI stance as well. But you spoke about Liberation Day, and since then we've actually underperformed. Yes. You're having Piyush Goyal at your conference today, though it's virtual. But as a house, what are you expecting in terms of the India-US deal? By when you think it will see the light?
When it will see the light, I don't know. The hope
but
is...
you're hopeful?
Very. Oh, extreme. I think it's in the interest of both countries, actually. We're no longer a country which anybody can neglect, right? I mean, and if you've seen what our Commerce Minister has done in the last, I guess, 18 months, from Switzerland, Luxembourg, to Norway, to UK, to New Zealand, one by one, we're getting our agreements in place with various countries, right? And I think the US is going to be right up there. So am I hopeful? The answer is 100% I'm hopeful.
So what's the base case at UBS? That the 25% extra will go and the base 25 will remain, or even that will be reduced further to sub 20?
We have not actually done, I personally have not taken a view on that. I think at least as first case, the base case should at least be that the top 25% should go. Okay.
Coming to banking, Mickey, you spoke about a deputy governor at your conference. The biggest FDI in the last 1 year has come into the financial space. Never ever we thought of in the last 15-20 years that Etihad Bank will get an access of 60% stake in RBL Bank. It's unheard of, right? What's your sense? You've been a banker for so many years. Right time to open up the banking sector, and you think more deals will come?
First thing is, I think clearly the financial sector is a proxy to our large population, right? 1.4 billion people, 1.5 billion people. The consumer play in India, if you play it via financials, there's a great way to play it. Yeah. India has had some world-class banks. Yes, you're right. Historically, the RBI was quite stringent on allowing foreigners to come in. If they came in, licenses were given, with a certain business plan. Growth was controlled by them. And I think there was no harm in the way we approached it. I think we've had some ICICIs of the world, HDFCs, Kotaks, would not have happened that easily if we just allowed them to come in the manner if they may have wanted to. I think going forward, yes, it's a mature market. I think there's need for a synergy between what the global banks can bring to India in terms of products, in terms of the reach, etc. So yeah, I think the time is right, and I can see more of this happening. Okay. I think the dialogue which we actually as a house have with a number of jurisdictions where people are keen. If you ask the Japanese, they're keen to expand here. They ask the Koreans, they're looking for opportunities. So yes, there is keenness.
Okay. You briefly spoke about IPO as well as one of the reasons why some bit of FI money has moved from secondary market to the primary market. You've seen so many IPO cycles in the last 20, 25, 30 years. What do you make of the quality of paper that's hitting the market? While there is an argument of valuations very steep for some of those recent listings like Linkard, but what's generally your sense of the IPO paper in India?
So you're absolutely right. There have been multiple cycles and cycles which have not worked out for many corporates or for investors, right? And go back to the Y2K 2000 boom era, where there were a lot of small companies coming to the market. The one thing if you notice now, the size of the IPOs, right, are clearly differentiated from the past. Yes. And I've always maintained that it's easier to get a large IPO done than a small IPO done, right? The size of assets which the domestic mutual funds and of course we've always had the global investors coming in, it's huge. So to make a difference in the portfolio, these large IPOs. So I think what we've seen is most of the IPOs clearly at the right valuation have done well, and I continue seeing that. I think we've seen the other advantages. It's no longer just a single economy, or it's across sectors. You're seeing the IPOs coming out. I mean, I was just looking at this morning's papers, from defense to education to consumer. You can buy glasses, etc. So I think it's a very varied sector. India is no longer just a 2-3 sector market, sure. And I think it's going to continue. Mm-hmm. I think you see that in our pipeline too.
Sure. I want to ask more about the UBS strategy in India, because, and I'm asking you because recently we saw the deal of UBS buying 5% in 360 ONE, and you want to eventually build this wealth business. Yes. As a financial, as a theme, how much bullish you are across the capital market theme, whether it's wealth management or exchanges or brokerages?
Like I said earlier, right? Financial services is clearly perfect for playing the consumer market, yeah. Right? I think and could be across the whole chain of retail to ultra high net worth, in terms of wealth management, in terms of investment banking, in terms of broking, pure corporate banking, right? We've seen how banks have grown on that side. Extremely bullish. I think yes. The reason we did this deal, or the hallmark of this deal, is you're combining the largest wealth manager in the world, the premier wealth manager in the world, with the largest standalone domestic wealth manager, asset manager in India, right? I think it's a win-win for both, providing access to our global clients to come into India with 360 ONE, and as you're seeing the markets open up for domestics to go overseas and various.
So the plan is to stick with 5% in 360 ONE, or you want to increase further going forward?
I think it's early days. We've just got the marriage was consummated in April. The other agreements have just been signed. I think we'd like to see how it plays out, but clearly, I think it's in the interest of both that it grows. I think even when we did the announcement in April, we did say that this is the start of the relationship. So I'm hopeful that it does grow.
Okay. Because, globally, the one big talking point has been the AI, and India has been seen as an anti-AI in that sense. We don't have much of an AI play in India. It can cut both ways, right? If there is a bubble which bursts in AI, India will be safe. But what's your general sense on the entire AI theme, and how can India be a part of it going forward?
So from obviously I'm learning a lot about AI. Actually, one beautiful thing about UBS, they had the senior management start a course. We were sent away on a course for 2.5 days to the UK, to Oxford, to actually study the impact of AI. So we all, as a house, we really believe that AI is here to stay. There's no doubt about that. It's going to change how work gets done. Of course, having said that, I don't think it's sole reliance on AI. India, has it missed the boat on AI? No, I don't think so. I think even when you look at technology, how, from the old technology where, in the 90s, we may not have been cutting edge to start off with, and you've seen what we did there. I think this is the first wave. I think it doesn't necessarily end with the first wave. And knowing how smart our engineers themselves are, I don't see any reason why we won't participate in this growth. And we'll get a sense also, like you said.
You're not worried about India not yet participating in the AI?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. You've seen so many investment deals in the last 20-30 years. We've seen a lot of M&A deals picking up in India as well, and India now actually doing a lot of outbound deals again, right? Mid-cap companies buying out big assets, over $1 billion and all. What's the sense there? Is there a lot of easy liquidity which is helping a lot of M&As to happen, outbound M&As as well?
So I think two things, right? First, M&A domestically, I would focus on the fact that there's also a generational change happening, right? I've been back in India 30 years, right? That's already one generation. Companies which were set up in the 80s, 90s, they may have a generational change. The second gen may not want to be part of the company. You're seeing a lot of inbound interest. I mean, immense interest. In the last 2 days, the number of clients we've met, private equity firms you met, they're all looking at opportunities in the inbound M&A space, right? So that's here to stay. In terms of the outbound M&A, I think we've had a cycle in the past. We've seen some of the larger players going out. Again, I think it's a matter of how confident the Indian corporate has become. And they do believe that if they can actually benefit from the acquisition, potentially one of the themes which is quite popular is go acquire the front end offshore, bring the back end back in India, and it's a win-win situation. And I think it's a matter of confidence that you're seeing these transactions happen. Corporate India is no longer worried about going overseas.